Yes, I'm Roman, and it's been such a long time since I've been in this type of video where I am before you and I'm talking. Wow! If you have been watching my videos, you would have seen that I was in the United States and I showed you a little bit about the States, some things I did. I cut my hair. Yeah, I had a lot of videos. For today, I will simply be comparing the States, the United States, and France. And from my perspective, and of course, we will have differences and exceptions. Number one, the first difference between the United States and France is the portion size in food. For example, what we would consider, let's say, a large size drink in France is maybe a medium size in the United States. Also, what I must say though is that when it comes to restaurants, we do get more in the United States. And I like that. I honestly like that. In France, portion sizes are often small, depending on the restaurant, of course. Whilst in the US, more often than not, you'll find that the portion sizes are much bigger. Number two, architecture. As far as I'm concerned, the architecture in France is much more uniform than it is in the US. France has this unique architecture which is particular or special to each region, whilst in the US, there is uniformity, of course, but this uniformity is the same throughout all states, more or less, or all communities. Of course, there are differences, blah, blah, blah. We understand that, but what I'm saying is that each region in France has a unique architectural style that is simply phenomenal. Number three, space. I just need some space. Yard space. What I find is that in France, for the most part, you do not have a lot of yard space unless you're in the rural areas. Or maybe some small cities, you might have some yard space. However, based on my experience, it is not so much common. In fact, where I live, there isn't really a yard space. But you do find a few houses where I live that are gated off that have yard space. Whilst on the other hand, in these states, you have more yard space. Even if this yard space is shared, you have yard space. Often it is in front of the house, maybe beside, or even behind. So that I simply find amazing. So it is great for people who want to do gardening, etc. However, there are some places in New York and in the States that are designed in such a way where there is no yard space. For example, if you're going more to Manhattan, etc., you do have this. However, you will more often see yard space in these states, outside of rural areas. Number four, I believe personally that the US is more diverse than France in terms of language and maybe mixture. I hear more of other languages. And I don't see that a lot in France, whilst in the US, you will find more people code switching, moving from Spanish to English or Japanese or Korean or Chinese. And of course, you have small communities which are dedicated to these different racial groups or language groups. You have Chinatown. I don't remember all the names, but you have different communities where you will find the specific people and the languages spoken, shops, restaurants, etc. But nonetheless, do not misinterpret what I'm saying. France is quite diverse, but I just found that in the US, this diversity was more in my face. It was more obvious. Number five and last.
Fred Burger, yes!
This one is quite interesting. And that is that in France, most times when you want to register for a gym or you want to take out a phone registration and you want to have a subscription with them where you pay monthly. In the US, you often just pay and you can stop your service whenever you want. However, in France, it is not so. Most times in France, you have to do what we call an engagement, where you have to stick with your membership for about 1 year. Some memberships can be longer. For example, with my gym, I have a 2-year membership. And with my phone company, I have an internet company, I have a 1-year membership. The thing about this in France is that if you decide that you don't want the service anymore and you are to opt out of the service, two things will happen. One, you'll have to pay a sort of resiliation fee. It means that you're forfeiting the contract, so therefore you must pay a fee to the company, etc., etc. Whilst in the US, I have never encountered this. However, you will find though that in France there are other exceptions where you have a sort of grace period in which you may opt out. For example, I paid for some insurance service and I had 12 weeks, I believe, in which I may cancel my subscription, my membership, and I did it within that period, that time period. And the other option is that you can have a sort of non-binding membership, but the difference is that the price will be different. At my gym, I asked, okay, what's the difference between taking a fixed membership and not? And the price was more. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think it was maybe 10 euros more. With my phone company, it was the same. So this is an interesting concept in France that I simply don't like, because I would like to enjoy cheap deals whilst not being forced into a binding contract. Nonetheless, these are just 5 differences between the US and France. And this is just a very slight video. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll do another video. I could speak more about the US. And with that said, that is all for today. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.